Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to show you how to make a really delicious pudding called milk cake or tres leches cake. This has become really popular over the last few years, and if you're on social media you probably have kind of come across a few milk cake posts. I made this during Ramadan, and if you followed my Ramadan vlogs you would have noticed that I made a saffron and cardamom one, which is the one I'm going to share with you today. So it's super easy to make, and this cake mimics the flavour of ras malai, a popular South Asian dessert, one of my absolute favourites. And if you like any kind of milk-based puddings, ice creams, then you will absolutely love this. It's quite decadent, so it's really one for special occasions, but I can literally eat it every day. I've got a bit of a sweet tooth, so I'm going to show you just how quick and easy it is to make. Apart from the soaking time, it really is, really fuss-free. So let's get started. Here's what we'll need for our cake batter. 1 teaspoon of saffron in 1 tablespoon of hot water. I've soaked this about a minute ago and it's already taken on a really nice golden yellow colour, and it will deepen further. So we need to soak this for about 5 minutes, so while we're doing the rest of the steps this will be ready. 3 medium eggs, 120 gram of butter which has been softened, so that's kind of been left at room temperature for a few hours, or if it's still a little bit firm you can just put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds. 150 grams of granulated sugar, you can also use caster sugar. 150 gram of plain flour. You need to sift the flour. I've used one that's pre-sifted, so I haven't sifted the flour. So just 150 gram of regular flour that's sifted, and 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I'm going to use an electric whisk today, but if you don't have one, just use a regular whisk and whisk the mixture for a few more minutes. Make sure to have a large mixing bowl. I've got a glass one here. Also, before getting started, make sure to preheat your oven. So that's 160 in a fan oven, 180 in a regular oven, which is gas mark 4. So preheat your oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I've got the sugar and the softened butter in this bowl, and what I'm going to do now is cream this together for about 3 minutes. I've just whisked the sugar and the butter together for just under 3 minutes. Now we're going to whisk in the eggs one at a time until the mixture is light and fluffy. So that'll take about 2 minutes. First egg. Now we're going to add our saffron, which has been soaking for about 5 minutes. You can see how light and fluffy the egg and sugar and butter mixture is. So we're going to mix in the saffron at this stage. You can see how nice and golden saffron has made the mixture. So now it's time to start adding our flour little at a time. So we'll probably do this in 3 batches until we have a nice smooth mixture. So I did the flour in 3 batches, mixing for about 10 seconds or so for each batch. So in total I've whisked the mixture for about 30 to 40 seconds while adding the flour. If you do this by hand, then just mix for about 20-30 seconds for each batch. So now that our mixture is done, I'm going to add it into an oven safe dish. I've got a Pyrex one here, which is 7.5 inches in width, 9.5 inches in length, and 3 inches in depth. So roughly this size, doesn't have to be exactly the same, and preferably a square or rectangle one. And make sure to just lightly grease the pan before you add the batter in. So once you've added the mixture, just gently even it out. Don't press too hard, just to make sure that it's evenly distributed in the pan and kind of flat on top. So the batter is ready to go into the oven. So we're going to bake this for about 40 minutes or until it's light and golden and a toothpick or cake tester inserted comes out clean. So for the next step, which is our 3 milk or tres leches mixture, we'll need 300 milliliters of whole milk, 300 milliliters of condensed milk, 300 milliliters of evaporated milk, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 4 cardamom pods, and a generous pinch of saffron. For the cardamom pods, you can place them whole into the milk mixture, or you can take the seeds out from the cardamom pods and crush them in a pestle and mortar and add them. That way you don't have to worry about taking the cardamom pods out afterwards. So what we're going to do is place all the ingredients in a pan and simmer them gently for about 5 minutes. Give everything a stir. Now we're going to turn the heat on to medium-high, bring this to a gentle simmer and cook for about 4 or 5 minutes. The milk is done. I've been simmering it for about 4 minutes. That's just a little bit of foam because I've been whisking it as well, but obviously if you don't need to whisk it, you can just use a wooden spoon. So we're going to let that cool completely. And meanwhile, our cake is out of the oven. It's fully cooked. It's taken 40 minutes. And you can see it's nice and golden. Once it cools down completely, which will take probably about 2 hours, we're going to come back and do the next step. So when the cake is cooled completely, I've cooled this for about 3 hours. Make sure it's not warm and our milk has also cooled down. I've just taken out 200 milliliters of milk from here and I've reserved a little bit for later, which you can add when you serve the cake. So take a little toothpick or whatever you have handy and just prick little holes into the whole thing. So as many as you can. So we want to make sure the milk soaks through all the way into the cake. So you can see that I've used the little toothpick and made lots of little holes right down to the bottom with the toothpick. So make as many as possible, and now what we're going to do is pour in our milk. It may seem like a lot, but believe me, it will all soak in. That's just little cardamom pod seeds, so don't worry if you get those into the milk as well. You can do this just to make sure it seeps into the bottom. So the sponge has been super absorbent and it's literally sucked up all that milk, and it's literally been a couple of minutes. And what we're going to do now is cover this with some kitchen foil, and we're going to refrigerate this overnight. And we can either add the cream a little bit later, literally a couple of hours later, if you want to eat it on the same day, or what I'm going to do is chill it overnight and then add the whipped cream topping tomorrow. So our milk cake has been soaking overnight, and now we're ready to do the whipped cream frosting, so let's get started on that. To make the topping for our milk cake, we'll need some double cream or heavy whipping cream. I've got here 275 milliliters in this bowl, which has been taken out of the refrigerator, and 3 tablespoons of icing sugar or powdered sugar. You'll also need an electric whisk. So we've got the icing sugar and the cream in this bowl. I've just given the icing sugar and cream a little bit of a mix with the whisk before getting started. That way you kind of prevent the icing sugar flying around everywhere. So now we're going to whisk this on a fairly high setting for about 3 to 4 minutes until it's really kind of thick and has formed stiff peaks. So I'll show you when that's ready. So our cream is ready. You can see that it's really nicely whipped. This has taken about 3.5 minutes. If I hold it up with the end of the whisk, you can see that those little bits don't drop, which is what you call a stiff peak. And I am going to try turning this bowl upside down so you can also see that it doesn't fall down if you turn it upside down. So there. Lucky. So now let's get started on the frosting or topping the cake. You can use a piping bag to put the cream on top of the cake, but I'm going to do it the rustic way, or I should say the easy way, and just put dollops on top, and then I'm going to smooth it over until it's even. So use the back of the spoon or a spatula, and with a very light touch, evenly distribute the cream all across the cake. So for garnishing, you can use chopped pistachios or ground pistachios, rose petals, anything really, but I wanted to keep to the theme of ras malai, which usually has saffron and pistachios as garnishes, almonds as well, but I'm going to use today some crushed pistachios, which are ground to kind of almost fine texture, and I've also got some saffron here. This is saffron from Istanbul that I got last year, and as I mentioned, one of my favorite spices, so just decorate as you like. So let's get started. So I've roughly covered it with some pistachios, and I'm going to add a few strands of saffron. So guys, here we have the final dish. Look at how amazing the milk cake looks. You can see a really nice kind of sponge layer and the cream layer on the side, and topped really nicely with some pistachios, ground pistachios and some saffron. And in this jug I've got some extra milk that I reserved when I made the milk mixture, and we're going to add that to serve. This is so delicious. You can see the cake sitting in a little puddle of milk, so this is absolutely the best way to serve, so I suggest you reserve some milk and serve it this way. So let's give this milk cake a try. It looks amazing. I can already smell the cardamom and the saffron, and my mouth is literally watering. This is so good. I'm just going to have another bite. I know you're going to love this, whether you have a sweet tooth or not. I know this is going to become your new favourite, and let me know if you make it and how you find the recipe. I know you're going to really love it just as much as I do, and do make it for your next special occasion, whether it's your birthday, an anniversary or Eid, which is just around the corner. So this is my new favourite dessert, and I'm going to finish the rest of this. And guys, if you like this recipe and enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe and share. And check out my cookbook, Brick Lane, which is linked below, for other yummy recipes, and I shall see you next time.